Yeah, Greg. Oh, welcome to the last 7 days. I'm Andrew Sparrow.
And I'm Bryan Spellman. This is the show where we talk about interesting news related to the product lifecycle in aerospace, automotive, and high tech.
4 astronauts from the International Space Station ISS splashed down to Earth.
Airbus delivered 52 jets in August.
Relativity Space signs lease on historic NASA test stand.
NASA manages to produce oxygen on Mars.
MTU and Safran to create joint venture on military helicopter developments.
Elon Musk called for a referee.
And 150 engineers are working on JCB's £100 million program.
CNH industrial production sites in Brazil achieve zero waste to landfill.
The first public unveiling of the British-built hydrogen-fueled Toyota Hilux.
UAW may opt to strike.
And Starlink, $1.4 billion last year. So first up, 4 astronauts from the ISS splashed down to Earth. So 4 astronauts splashed down to Earth early last week, returning home after spending 6 months on a rotation mission at the International Space Station. The astronauts, members of a mission run by NASA and SpaceX, said they were craving hot showers, steaming cups of coffee, and the ocean air. During the Crew 6 mission, they conducted 6 spacewalks and installed 2 new ISS rollout solar arrays to increase power generation for the station. The international crew spent 186 days in orbit.
Hot coffee is just so good.
Oh, you're brutal, man.
Airbus delivered 52 jets in August to bring the total this year to 433 units. The total backlog topped 8,000 units for the first time at the end of August, following a surge in air travel demand since the pandemic. Airbus is targeting 720 deliveries in 2023.
And Relativity Space signs lease on historic NASA test stand. The preeminent 3D printed rocket company has signed an enhanced use lease agreement on the vertical test stand at the A2 complex within NASA's historic Stennis Space Center in Hancock County, Mississippi. Tim Ellis, co-founder and CEO of Relativity Space, said new history is being written at the Stennis Space Center. He said the scale of Terran R as a medium heavy lift reusable large vehicle is substantial. We are building innovative capabilities to solidify America's leadership in space.
NASA manages to produce oxygen on Mars. The Perseverance rover, which landed on the red planet in February 2021, has been periodically burning through the atmosphere's carbon dioxide to generate small amounts of oxygen for more than 2 years. Using a device no larger than a microwave, they were able to extract 122 grams of oxygen in total, which can support an astronaut for about 3 hours. This is giving hope that production on a larger scale could support human life and provide rocket fuel during future explorations. The device, called MOXIE, produced oxygen on 16 separate occasions since the first attempt in April of 2021, and the result has far exceeded NASA's original goals.
Total recall, here it comes. Meanwhile, MTU and Safran to create joint venture on a military helicopter development. German MTU Aero Engines and French Safran have signed a memorandum of understanding to create a joint venture on developing a new engine for the European Next Generation Rotorcraft Technologies project. The 50-50 joint venture signed during the Paris Air Show aims to favor a future-specific core for military helicopter engines. The European Next Generation Rotorcraft Technologies project will explore technology options, anticipating the next generation of military rotorcraft slated to enter the service by 2040.
What does all of this aerospace and defense news have to do with the product lifecycle?
I think what it's doing is putting the product lifecycle front and center of any decent sized enterprise. I think what has been in the past, it's been a lot of ERP or financially based decisions as being the core. What it now does is it puts product front and center and customer centricity front and center. It's really saying what we have to do is innovate more. We have to product lifecycle manage more. We have to simulate. That is the backbone of any decent organization.
Speaking of backbones of any decent organization, this week Elon Musk called on Wednesday for US to referee artificial intelligence, after he, Mark Zuckerberg, and Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai and other tech CEOs met with lawmakers at Capitol Hill to discuss AI regulation. Musk said it's important for us to have a referee to ensure that companies take actions that are safe in the interest of the general public. He said the meeting was a service to humanity and said it may go down in history as very important to the future of civilization. More than 60 senators took part. Zuckerberg said that Congress should engage with AI to support innovation and safeguards. Lawmakers said there was a universal agreement about the need for government regulation of AI.
I mean, I think it's absolutely relevant, but hey, Brian, I mean, every country's got to abide by the same rules. It's no good us having these amazing rules if China isn't doing the same as well, huh? There we go. I'm sure that's way beyond our pay grade.
Yeah, we're how far away from Skynet?
Meanwhile, in the industrial equipment sector, 150 engineers are working on JCB's £100 million program to develop hydrogen combustion engines. And more than 70 prototypes have already been manufactured at JCB Power and Drivetrain Systems Derbyshire factory. Designed, developed and built in the UK, 150 engineers are working on JCB's $100 million a pound program to develop hydrogen combustion engines, and more than 70 prototypes have already been manufactured at the JCB Power and Drivetrain Systems factory. In a major breakthrough for the project, JCB installed one of its super efficient hydrogen engines into a formerly diesel-powered Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van.
It's crazy how every news bit we're talking about here just makes us feel like we're living in sci-fi. We have AI Skynet coming. We have cars and engines powered by hydrogen fuel cells. What's next?
It's incredible, the acceleration of technology in today's world compared to 50 years ago. It's frightening what's happening over the next few years. ChatGPT, just as a quick aside, I heard, is already at 150 IQ, but ChatGPT 5 and 6 apparently is going to be nearer 3,000 and 5,000 IQ. Talking of Skynet.
Yep, that's not scary at all. And some good news, all CNH industrial production sites in Brazil have achieved zero waste to landfill. CNH Industrial recently reached this goal of sending zero waste to landfills in all of their production sites in Brazil. The company's aim has been to maximize the reuse and correct disposal of recyclable and organic waste and to reduce or even eliminate the disposal of these materials into landfills or for co-processing. They work to encourage natural and sustainable life cycles. This means that all materials are designed with an intent to reuse them and thus become part of the circular economy.
Bro, where exactly was it in Brazil?
Several different sites in Brazil.
Oh, okay. You don't know exactly. That's fine.
No, exactly. It was in Contagem, Piracicaba, and Sorocaba.
Yeah, I thought it was there.
Yeah.
And at this point, no Brazilian has any clue where it might be. Meanwhile, in automotive, the first public unveiling of the British-built hydrogen-fueled Toyota Hilux prototype pickup took place at Senec's low-carbon vehicle event. The Toyota Hilux prototype is a fully functioning hydrogen prototype. It sports a new powertrain that uses core elements from the Toyota Mirai hydrogen fuel cell electric saloon. Technology that has proved its quality in almost 10 years of commercial production. When driven, the fuel cell produces no tailpipe emissions other than pure water. 3 high-pressure fuel tanks are used, giving the Hilux an expected driving range of more than 365 miles. Little less range anxiety going on there. Significantly further than might be achieved with a battery electric system. Here we go. Automotive.
Wow, that's all the automotive. Do you have any more automotive news?
Well, I think we may do, because didn't we say we were going to bring a guest on every week now?
Yeah, we want to bring a guest news reporter every week to just add some more interesting news items.
Intelligence, I think. Yeah, you bet.
Do you have anybody?
Yeah, Greg. Oh, well, hello.
Hi, Greg. You're in the same place as Andrew.
I am, yeah. I try to be like Andrew as much as possible. So
that's sweet.
That includes being in the same spot.
Yep, same glasses. Yep, everything.
All of the above.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So what's going on, Greg?
You know, I think in latest news, we've got the UAW, United Auto Workers Union, that is potentially going on strike against the big 3 automakers, GM, Chrysler, and Ford.
Why?
You know, there's a number of different reasons. I think they're asking for higher pay, better benefits,
Inflation?
across the board. Inflation is definitely a big piece of it. We've also seen record profits over the last couple of years from all three. So,
Really?
yeah, expecting to.
To be fair, the big automakers are having to shift into electric vehicles or hydrogen, as we were talking about a minute ago. And those new ventures are losing billions. I mean, you look at Ford, I think it was $4.5 billion they're projecting to lose on the EV side of things. So I'm not sure if they're making record profits.
That's true. Although we have seen CEO raises increase up to 40% over the last couple of years. So,
you're wearing your union hat today.
maybe. I want to be Switzerland as much as possible.
The big cats leading the company. Yeah, they're going to make, if you want somebody to hire and run your company, you're going to have to pay big bucks for it.
That's right. I mean,
and this is where we bring up that Greg is actually our HR manager here at XDI.
Yeah, you're right. That's where he's coming from. Where have we got to on the whole negotiations, and what are they asking for exactly?
Well, so contracts expired at 11:59 Thursday night, last night, and so we're kind of just waiting to see if there will be a negotiation, an agreement between the UAW and the big three automakers. I think.
But what are they asking for?
Well, they're asking for a couple of things. One is a 36% raise over the next 4 years. Another is
9% a year.
9% a year. Yes, yeah. Which is they've dropped that a little bit from where they originally started. Originally, it was a 20% automatic increase. Yep. Okay. And then 5% for the following 4 years. But they've negotiated a little bit on that. I think the highest that I've seen is around 20% that the automakers are willing to do, but still quite a gap between there. Additionally, they're looking to increase benefits, not only increase benefits from a work-life perspective, but a 32-hour work week for 40 hours of pay. That's I'm interested to see how things are going to turn out, because what could happen is they decide to go on a targeted strike. I mean, there's a couple plants that if they hit, that could stop all auto production, or at least the majority of auto production in the US, which is certainly going to impact competitiveness as well. And I think what the automakers, from their perspective, is they're looking at the 2008, 2009 bailouts. And I think a lot of the reason that they were in those positions was because they conceded too much when negotiating with unions last time. So 15 years later, we'll kind of see what
when's the deadline before they go out on strike?
Yeah, we could see it as early as today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty tough, Brian. Honestly, electric vehicles coming in, hydrogen may be coming in. These automakers are going to lose a lot of money. I mean, the price of a battery, which is like a third of the price of making a vehicle. These automakers are going to be losing a lot of money, and I think we have to stick with them as best as possible. I'm sure they deserve more money, but a 36% increase with a 20% reduction in time, that's pushing it.
I think they're putting their best foot forward, knowing that they're going to have to concede some, both the UAW as well as the big three. But
got it.
We'll see what ends up happening.
All right.
Speaking of best foot forward, what other piece of news have you brought for us?
I just recently heard that Starlink made, I think their revenue was $1.4 billion in 2022. They were expecting around 12 billion. So quite a huge gap between where they're at and where they were looking to be initially.
That's interesting. I was looking at Starlink for my dear old mom in the UK, who is out in the sticks, the boondocks, with zero internet worth talking about unless she cycles hard. And to get Starlink was $100 a month, and the infra, which is basically a baking tray on a post that you put in your backyard,
sounds accurate,
and point it upwards. That's 450. That was 450 pounds, so $600.
Yeah, this is not the first time you've talked about your mom cycling to get internet on our interview shows, Andrew.
It's worth it. I mean,
she's as fit as heck.
If you're living far from a metro area and you don't have access to fiber or cable,
no, it's good.
It'd be a great alternative.
Agree. It's good.
Or the secret to hiding from Skynet is to live out in the boondocks with no internet.